Hi, I'm Stacie.
And I'm Kristi, and welcome to Art After Dark. This was supposed to be episode 1, but we're building this plane while it's in the air, so here we are. In this episode, Kristi and I are sharing our own stories, how we each found our way into art and surface pattern design, the twists and turns along the way, and why we started this podcast in the first place. Spoiler, it's all about keeping it real and reminding you that you're not alone on your creative quest.
How did you get started? Who are you?
Oh,
what do you do?
gotcha.
How did you get here?
Okay. Kristi Westberg. That's who I am. What do I do?
Yeah.
I am a book conservator full-time, which means I fix old books. This is what I tell people. It's just easier. I do lots of other things, but the majority of my work is. And how did I get here? So I have an undergraduate degree in graphic design, and I did that for about a year after I finished college. But I also, at the same time, found out about book conservation. And at the time, I was a major Anglophile. A little bit embarrassing, but that's the truth.
Embrace it.
So embrace it. Yeah, I studied abroad in London, and a friend of mine and I we just went. After we graduated, you could I don't think you can do this anymore. But you could a visa to work in the UK for a year, and so we did that.
Oh my God. I don't think I knew that about you.
Yeah, it was fun.
Amazing.
Basically, we worked for a whole year, or not even a year. It was less than a year. And then we saved up all of our money. And at the very end of our time there, we just went on a trip Paris and Venice and Prague. And wow, we blew all the money we made, basically.
Good for
and then
you.
Came home. Yeah. But so right as I was finishing college, somebody told me about book conservation and what it was. And it's this intersection between there's a lot of science in conservation. There's a lot of history and art. And so I was just well, I'm about to finish my undergraduate degree, and now I found this career I could have. It's kind of late in the game for this. And then they told me about a school in England where I could get a degree in this. And I had already been there several times and was I'll do anything to get back there. Yeah. And so I went to grad school and got a degree in book conservation. And I have been doing that since I finished in 2008, the worst year to enter the job market.
Tough times.
But I did eventually find a job. But in the back of my mind, I always eat little things. If I was going to buy a new computer, I was always well, I need to make sure it has enough power to run the Adobe suite. I didn't know why but this idea always came back to me, in little ways like that. And even during my undergraduate time, I remember asking one of my teachers, I really want to make these repeat patterns. And I explained to him what a tessellation was. And he was that's not going to work. And I was yeah, it's math. It will work.
Yeah.
And I showed him and he was oh, it works. And I was yeah, this is weird. So I wanted to make patterns, had zero support from my educational mentors. Yeah. They were just yeah, we don't know how to do that. You should really focus on typography. I was okay. Yeah. So I had that idea in the back of my head too. And I had figured out how to make a few patterns, but it was more a spot area. I designed a gift bag and made it look like a repeat pattern, but it wasn't.
Okay.
And so that's always in the back of my mind. In 2019, I found a course we all know, and I didn't have enough money to buy it at that time. But I did sign up for this email series that they had that was it would remind you every month to save X amount of dollars so that by the time the course reopened, you had enough money.
That's genius.
Come on. Isn't that genius?
But
I did that. I actually did it. So when it reopened in 2020, or for 2020, I signed up for it. learned how to make repeat patterns the real way that
Mm-hmm.
actually repeat over time in infinity. And kind of been doing that ever since, and just kind of learning how to do it better, basically. Because I feel like I learned, like when I look back at my first patterns, I'm like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
They're not very, you can really see the repeats very, very clearly.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
still
yeah.
have to work on that. Yeah. So now I have this business called At the Dot Design, and I've been slowly chipping away at that while still working my full-time job as a book conservator, basically since 2020.
Amazing.
So it's a long, slow journey. Sorry, that was probably way more information than you
No, no,
wanted.
I'm Stacie. I'm a surface pattern designer and illustrator and graphic designer. I sort of similarly to you, I'm not an Anglophile, I'm a Francophile.
Ah.
Hands down. I swear there's some part of me that in my past life I was French or lived there or something. But I
Mm.
also, like you, have a background in graphic design. And when I was getting my degree in graphic design, which of course I picked because it's like art adjacent, so it's like
Mm-hmm.
safe, like I can still have my toe in art, but get that job.
Yep.
So I did graphic design for a while at a credit union. And then I got promoted to marketing manager, which like is everything you would think it was. And I hated it. So I quit and I went back to school to get my master's in art history, which
Mm-hmm.
French was the language I took. So I had to go, like, I did a lot of French, which was great.
Mm.
And then I started working for a museum. So I'm starting to get more like really into art, like into the art world. And I worked as a curatorial associate for a while. And then I transferred over to galleries because the curator I was working with was leaving the institution. And I was like, well, if you're not working here, I'm not working here. So she helped me transition to galleries, which I was really nervous about because I was like, galleries are all sales. It's not really something I want to
Mm.
do. But the one thing that gallery owner told me, he was like, well, it's really just about removing obstacles from people. Like they're going to come up with some reason why they
Mm.
can't buy something, but like it's really about
Right.
having a conversation with them, understanding what they're really getting at, and helping them to remove those obstacles, which is something that has really stuck with me. So I worked
Mm-hmm.
for galleries for many, many years. And then the last gallery I worked for, he closed his physical space. And the year before, my mom had passed away. So I just needed like a break in my life. And so I took that opportunity to live in Paris for 3 months. I think about it every day. But when I was there, obviously, I had a lot of like headspace to like think about
Yeah.
what do I want this next chapter of my life to look like. And it really just came to me. It was like, look, I just want to be an artist, and not like an artist with a capital A necessarily, but I really wanted to just make things that people could connect with. I love the idea of making patterns. When I think about my childhood, I very specifically remember the wallpaper in our hallway, or just all the patterns around my home. They reminded me of my mom,
Mm-hmm.
her clothing, and all these
Yeah.
things. And I just thought, there's a person that makes these things, and I want to learn how to do that. And that's when I came back. I gave myself like a year where I will work a regular job, and then I'm going to make the leap to having my own business. So I started working for another gallery, and I left after 6 months. I was like, I'm just going to do
Mm.
it, because if I don't do it, I'm going to be too afraid. I had to help myself and get another job because it was
No.
too much to try to run this business with really just starting from scratch. So
Mm-hmm.
my freelance business was a lot of graphic design, which I still also do a little bit on the side. And then, yeah, basically, I've just been working part time for galleries until now. I work for a single artist, which the work that I do for him is very similar. So I work as his studio director, and then in the evenings and on the weekends, I work on my business. And basically, my goal with my business is creating patterns, licensing my artwork, mostly for stationery, and painting and working in sketchbooks and working on mixed media. And that's what I do. And that's where I am. Now that we've said who we are and what we do, what would you like this series of podcasts to be for people? Why are we doing this? Why are we here?
We are doing this to show the real stories of artists who are navigating the artistic quest, as we are calling
Yes.
it. No journeys around here.
No journeys.
Hashtag no journeys, only quests.
Oh, hashtag only quests.
Yes, so we definitely want to be candid and real about how this process is going for us. And I feel like, not that people aren't telling the real story, I feel like we want to tell the whole story
Yeah, not just
about
the
how this
shiny
process has
side.
worked. Yeah, not just shiny stuff. We need the tarnish. We need like the underside that's gross. We need all that. So yeah, we want that. And then we also want people to just feel good and to feel validated and to feel like they're not alone
Yes.
in this process.
Yes.
Because I feel like so often you see all the shininess,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're like me, you go to the dark place that's just like, I'm a failure. There is an in between there,
Yeah.
and we want to
Yeah.
show all those parts.
I think that I'm not really interested in hearing the story of one more person who got on Etsy or got on Instagram in the heyday and then like blew up. I'm happy for you. I'm super happy for you. And these people have been inspirational to me. It's part of why I'm
Mm-hmm.
in this business now. But that is not the reality anymore. And I think we want this podcast to be a place where people who are at the same place that we are to feel like they're not alone, like you said, that this is actually really hard, but at the same time, it's
Mm-hmm.
still something fun. Like we're trying to make art for a living. How amazing is that? At the same time, it's not easy. And so just creating a place where people can feel like, it's a different voice, it's a different perspective on this
Mm-hmm.
thing that we're all trying to do. So that's the point. That's why we're doing this. We have committed to doing 10 episodes. We
Mm-hmm.
do not know if they will ever be released. You may never see this. And if you are seeing this, it means we have decided that it's okay. We're going to show it all. We're going to show it all. And so we're not making any promises other than to show up totally as ourselves and be honest. And there probably will be tears and they will probably come from me. So just saying. That's
Just putting that out there from the
just
start.
putting that out there. Yeah. So welcome.
Yeah, welcome to Art
Art
After
After
Dark.
Dark. Art After Dark. We did it.
We did it.
Thanks so much for listening to Art After Dark. If you connected with today's episode, we'd love for you to subscribe and share it with a friend who's on their own creative quest. And if you want to follow along with our work, you'll find all the links in the show notes. Until next time, keep creating, and we'll see you after dark.
When you came out here that one day, I literally thought you were like on vacation or something. I would never have told you to come out here on a Friday afternoon. Like legit. That is so cruel.
It was fine.
You're like, yeah, I caught up.
It
I
was fine.
listened to the entire audiobook of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire on my drive home.
Oh my god, that would be so funny.
This could be like outtakes.
Hmm. That's why I'm still letting it go.